and welcome everyone to Module 2 of your Shift Network course, Quantum Energy Healing, Advanced Practices for Working with Quantum Fields, Enhanced Clairvoyance, and Intuitive Healing with Cyndi Dale. Today's session is titled, Apply the 4 Highest Colors of Clairvoyance to Enable Physical Transmutation. I'm Isabella, your host. Please join me in welcoming Cyndi Dale to the session. Welcome, Cyndi. They're all yours.
Hi, everybody. How are you? We are doing color. I am really excited. Before I gather us in a short guided meditation, I'm just going to give you the arc of how we're proceeding today. I'm going to start with science of colors, quantum, time and space, all that, kind of really rich, deep topic stuff you have in your handouts. So you can tune in, you can tune out, just kind of take the high points. Our second big section of what we're going to talk about today are these 4 amazingly powerful colors based on an Egyptian color system that we will be using to basically reactivate those quantum codes that are already in our system that we want animated and to bring new ones in. And then we're going to talk about clairvoyance. All of you were provided with the 7 series class on clairvoyance. Some of you went through it. Maybe some of you haven't been able to go through it as of this point. So some of that will be review for many of you. But we're really going to up our game when it comes to using the third eye, the 6th chakra today. And then we're going to mix it all together and have a great time working with physical issues. So the bigger focus today is physical transmutation. Transformation being how to change everything that's there into something good. Transmutation being, there's probably some things we just want to leave behind at this point. So how to go through the suitcase and get rid of what we don't want and, kind of use and or transform the rest. So that's what we're really focused on. I think it's going to be, kind of an awesome opportunity for you to shine up your clairvoyance and use it in a way that is kind of goes even farther than operating with the standard colors, your red, green, yellows, etc. But some really powerful energetics that are going to make, I believe, a huge difference from cellular DNA, all the way up to organ systems, etc. So let's gather. This is just our second time meeting. Last time was mainly about protocol. So I'm just going to let us relax into the here and now. You can keep your eyes open. You can shut them. And slip into that ability to just accept exactly how you are and feel in this moment. I think change often begins with just accepting and allowing. And so in that, you're inviting self-awareness, self-satisfaction, self-acceptance. You can now easily slip into and find yourself anchored within that God spot, the divine chamber within your heart chakra of love, joy, ease, your spirit self. And just kind of feel in and through that God spot. Sometimes it changes every single time we connect with it, we move in it. It's very fluid, it's dynamic. It's full of the sound and light of your essence. And so in this place, it's very easy to just acknowledge your own spirit, your own self, your own endless, eternal, infinite, true self. Breathe deeply. Know that all interactions now and even moving after this class will occur with the spirits, the higher aspects of living and not living, animate and not animate beings and objects, entities and forces, guides and allies, And that if you choose, you can turn this process, this class, over to whatever it is you call or sense as higher, the higher presence, source, oneness, and just relax. Because once we've done that, we really can flow. We can know that we're going to retain what we need to retain, go where we need to go, be led as we're to be led. Those absolute scalar ways that we talked about last time, you can request that they be enhanced or opened from inside of you outside. So it's really like you're just beaming. They'll be whatever they need to be. They'll transform as they need to transform, drop away when their task is done. And then whatever of those need to be provided for you are provided. So I want you to just enjoy a little effort it's taking to just enter a healing space and awareness. You can feel your feet, your knees, your hips, your torso, your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your head, the extended self. And then just as swiftly, breathe your way back in to the very center, to that universal space of you, greater spirit, and goodness within your heart. When you're ready, breathe one more time and be present. And I want to again encourage you to just, it's like they say in the 12-step programs, take what you want and leave the rest. Whatever of the data that I share kind of strikes for you, and or you want to do further research or look at the handouts, do that. But we're all different and we learn different things in different ways. For some of you, it may be, I'm just going to remember kind of that outside shell of the information because I'm more experiential. So trust yourself. You're not to do things the way I do it or anybody else. You're to allow yourself to just flow and grow and, kind of just extend into who you are and, kind of how you are going to know yourself to be as well. All right. The first third of the data, I'm going to geek out. I'm going to share a bit more science. We did begin last time and we'll continue in, kind of dits and dats each time we meet to explore more and more of certainly the quantum and also some of the classical science of this universal quantum intelligence field. That's a mouthful. I had to practice, and the personal one as well. So I'm going to talk a bit about actually the science of colors, but fold that into knowledge that we have about your personal quantum intelligence field. All right. And I'm specifically going to go a little deeper into kind of a region of study, a discipline of study called wave genetics, and a bit more. Fold in some of the major ideas about time and space, and then you're going to be wiped out. No, and then you're going to be like, where and when am I? And then we're going to do the fun. We're going to literally go into these really dazzling Egyptian colors. I have to say, working with the 4 colors we're going to work with, I almost don't want to use the word colors because they're sort of almost like sentient beings in their own way. That's not quite true, but it's got that feeling to me. Like it's like so almost aggravatingly powerful because we can do so much with these kind of extensions, of Egyptian knowledge. So we have been using color technology, and I want to call it that, color medicine, color technology for thousands of years. If you scan almost any culture, looking back across time, whether that be, there's even some evidence that in, prehistoric times, colors had different meanings. Certainly symbols had different meanings as well, but all the way over into the East Indian area, Mesopotamian, even the Norwegians use colors. Thank you. We usually don't use anything all that creative. Different North and South American tribes, Eastern, modalities will incorporate colors. Color is it because it's one half of the quotient of what we're made out of. I mean, we really are made out of enervated fields of light and sound. Mostly we're not able to measure those except maybe with our intuition. And even then we want to screen so we don't get overwhelmed. But we've been doing color healing forever. And one of my very favorite individuals on this planet, he has a library that has a lot of the kind of more recent color healing modalities, as well as going back into the Greek times, the use in the temples, etc. I'm going to give you his name because you may want to look up his library. It's a kind of a world library out of Sedona. His name is Dr. Stephen Ross. Don't write him, just look up his library, okay? I've known Stephen for years and years and years, and he tells stories. He's written at least 2 or 3 books. He tells stories of a couple times in his life, one when he was injured, another time when his a parent was sick, and then I think first it was his dad and then it was mother. He used color healing. He used some of the stuff that was developed in the 1900s. Kate Baldwin is a name in there, etc., to use different shades of color, and he would focus on them, even sometimes use these clear lenses, of colors. And he's got a big, huge book of Dr. Raymond Royal Rife, books this big of Dr. Rife, who invented a universal microscope that was shifting bacteria from lethal to non-lethal, non-lethal to lethal, using colors refracting at different angles. But Stephen did healing with color, restored his physicality, restored his mother's, etc., because we're made out of color. It's all about frequency. And so different organs, you could even say different thoughts, different systems in the body, different objects, different aspects of nature, etc., are really supposed to function at a certain range of frequency, which can be one way we describe that is by colors, kind of within frequency bands. So for instance, your first chakra in your hips is supposed to function at a certain band of energy that we would call red. And you can often tell if it's wrong because there's energies in there that maybe are muddy or not kind of the right hues, or they're displaced. So most of what we do in healing, whether we know it or not, at least half of it, the other half is sound, is really working with color. There's a right color for things, but it doesn't mean that you can't use other colors to create change. You can mix and match colors, and there's higher colors we're going to be focused on today that you don't have to worry about what organ system you're working them with, what chakra, what kind of, sort of disease process you're working with. They all create, all the 4 we're going to be working with, very specific high level changes in a safe way. And I should say relatively safe, because one of the 4 colors we're going to work with isn't always, going to have the best effect unless you know what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So across time, and I gave you some of the history of color healing, we've used, color, we respond differently. Orange is the cheeriest color, yellow is the most intellectual, but if you have too much yellow, say on or in your body, you're going to get anxious. Pink soothes, blue calms. Sports teams that wear red have the greatest, kind of winning record. So we're all about color. In what's called wave genetics, and sometimes it's actually called linguistic genetics or wave linguistics, all right? It's a discipline that's focused on how do we reach into and in a healthy way kind of access our personal quantum intelligence field. A lot of the research came out of Russia. It's still coming out of Russia. There was early on, kind of investigations that were picked up by a man named Peter Garyaev. Garyaev. I've been practicing that. Peter Garyaev. He died just a couple years ago. You have his name in your handouts. You can look him up, wave genetics, etc. But his research and his group's research we're really figuring out that, yes, in fact, we do seem to have this personal quantum intelligence field. It's a non-local field. He doesn't use the word soul, but you could really read into the research that's connected to each of our souls. And it's available to the physical self during preconception, conception, and all, kind of our living years, if you would. That quantum intelligence field, there's kind of a complicated process that happens when the egg and the sperm come together. But it provides, you could say, the key codes to the developing self, to the embryonic self, to the fetal self, to the growing self, and to who we are right now. And it actually holds your perfect codes. It doesn't mean that you're going to have perfect health if you've got these codes operating within you and working for you. But he did a lot of research in showing how these codes interface with the DNA and could even turn DNA on and off, and or turn on and off what's called the epigenome, the chemical soup that holds ancestral energies, memories, codes, etc., that's around your regular DNA that's in your nucleus. Now, there's 250 different types of these chemical soups, so it's complicated. And that chemical soup responds to your internal and external environment. So how you're thinking, how you're being raised, what kind of people you're around, if you have healthy food, non-healthy food, polluted air, not polluted air. So from the get-go, that epigenome is altering your DNA codes, usually for worse. It'd be nice to say it's for better, but we live in a very not healthy world. And so those codes that are sort of stacked in the DNA and within the rest of our system, the way he put it is that they tend to get corrupt. All right. They just don't work very well anymore. Some of them probably never even load. Some of them get turned off. We probably end up with other people's stuff, energies, codes in us. So life gets to be quite a mess. One of the ways he talks about how the non-local gets into the local, like into the body, he talks about it almost like they're videos. So you have this video in your non-local reality, right? That's got everything you need, and then it sends the pictures, right? The colors, the pictorial codes and sound codes in